Oshinoko is an idol anime. And just saying that made me not want to watch it. I mean, it's not that I've got anything against idol anime, but I've seen enough BTS stans on Twitter to know it's not something I want to touch. So when I learned that Oshinoko was wiping the floor with nearly every other release, I was flabbergasted. I mean, the hype this anime is getting is on par with Demon Slayer, for fuck's sake. The first episode is basically a feature-length movie. On top of 2 wildly successful opening and ending tracks, 3 additional original songs were created just for a fictional idol group, complete with official dance videos. They even made a whole-ass documentary series that recorded the production process. But why put so much effort into this in the first place? What about this series could inspire such passion in its creators and audience? I didn't really know or care, because Oshinoko was an idol anime and I was hopelessly prejudiced. Even at this point, I still had no plans of watching it. And then I discovered who wrote the manga. Yeah, I'm binging this shit tonight. And as it turns out, Oshinoko, the idol anime, is incredible. The characters are perfectly matched by their voice actors. The crisp and colorful visuals and animation are literal eye candy. But more than that, it's not because we follow the exciting adventures of the idol Aqua Hoshino and her 2 children as they explore their new, fun, exhilarating, and in no ways negative lives as pop stars. No. It's much darker than that. Because Oshinoko is not just an idol anime, it's a dissection of the show business, and they get into pretty damning detail. So let's talk about it. Oshinoko follows the exciting adventures of a sweet young girl and an eccentric doctor as they watch their favorite up-and-coming idol rise to stardom. Right, yeah, let's run that back. Oshinoko follows the exciting adventures of Ruby and Aqua Hoshino, the reincarnated twin children of the popular idol Ai Hoshino, as they explore the entertainment industry. But these twins couldn't be more different from each other. While Ruby's always positive and almost blindly optimistic, Aqua's always brooding, always seeming like he's up to something. While Ruby dreams of becoming an idol and joining the show business, Aqua seems to want nothing to do with it. And yet, while Ruby doesn't have much experience in the entertainment industry at all, Aqua frequently dirties his hands in it. Why are they such polar opposites? And why does Aqua insist on entering an industry he doesn't even care for? Well, let's rewind a little bit because I forgot to mention this earlier, but their mother fucking died. Well, murdered specifically, by their dad, indirectly. And only Aqua knows this because he was killed by the same guy in his past life. Indirectly. Aqua believes this person to be in the show business and has dedicated himself to hunting him down since he was 4 years old. To do so, he employs the same tactics the show business uses. He lies, deceives, and manipulates anyone as he sees fit. This entire series, this whole deep dive into the entertainment industry is almost completely driven by one boy's desire to find his father and kill him. But also, why would his mother, Ai Hoshino, fall in love with a murderer in the first place? Well, this sort of thing actually happens pretty often. Why else do we have thirst traps of Ted Bundy? But in Ai's case, she simply felt incapable of giving or receiving love while growing up, and ended up searching for this love in all the wrong places, from becoming an idol to having children with a future serial killer. With that in mind, you can't help but think that it might have been a little helpful if she'd actually had decent parents, and not a deadbeat dad and an abusive mother who abandoned her in a foster home. But I digress. So far, there's still a bunch of heavy questions that haven't been answered yet. Who's Aqua and Ruby's father? How does Aqua plan to take vengeance when he finds him? Will Ruby become just as edgy as he is when she discovers the truth of their mother's death? For now, all we can do is speculate, or read the manga, I guess. But if there's only one thing that we can take away from this series so far, just please don't be a shitty parent, cause fuck's sake. BTS was an idol band. BTS had many fans. BTS was dissolved for military service, because as it turns out, they're South Korean citizens subject to South Korean laws. But why am I talking about BTS? Well, because it never seemed that way, and also I don't know any other idol groups, but the point is, they're idols. Idols radiate charisma. They're gorgeous, extremely talented, and always single for some reason. They seem to exist without flaw, and we'd perceive them as pure, perfect beings if we didn't know any better. But idols are liars, and Ai Hoshino is no exception to this. She's a professional deceiver, paid to dance, sing, and tell her fans, "I love you," when she doesn't mean it, and paid very little at that. Between management fees and expenses, idols usually don't make much at all. Also, getting in a relationship can end your career, and having children is basically a death sentence, but usually only career-wise. Many fans either can't see through their flashy facade, or they just pretend it doesn't exist. Anything to justify turning against their idol when they find out they're not as perfect as they thought. So being an idol isn't all sunshine and roses, but you probably expected Oshinoko to cover that much, cause, you know, idol anime, that's how it's fucking advertised. But I guess the writers got bored halfway through, because apparently it's not just an idol anime. The acting business, online content creation, reality TV, just about every part of the entertainment umbrella is explored, and they get down to some nasty details. In the acting industry, being good at acting doesn't necessarily make you a good actor. You'll probably need connections, good looks, people skills, or a combination of the three to get by. This was especially unfortunate for the talented actor Kana Arima, who was essentially a form of birth control as a child. Despite learning to change, he was still cast aside and forgotten for years. Another talented actor, Akane Kurokawa, accidentally cut someone on reality TV. I say accidentally, but the staff just immediately throws her to the wolves. She was torn apart online by viewers who didn't have all the details, and the psychological abuse was nearly fatal. Her experience is a harsh example of the impact that online harassment can have on others, but I guess some of y'all didn't get that message, huh? Also, reality TV is ass, but you should know that already. On a more lighthearted note, there was also a mini crash course for growing a YouTube channel. You should check it out. But deception really is everything in this industry. Idols must lie to their fans and hide their relationships. Actors must put up a front both on and off screen to avoid putting future jobs at risk. Famous personalities in general will play a character in public to protect themselves. People will lie, exaggerate, and manipulate the truth to whatever is most convenient for them, whatever gets the best ratings. So keep that in mind the next time you watch the Kardashians. If you were watching it in the first place, that's kind of weird, bro. Let's see if you can figure out what's wrong with this scene. Now, if your answer was, who gets this passionate about beach volleyball? You'd be correct, nobody does. This guy's covering for his friends so they can plant cameras in the girls' locker room. But in doing so, he made two crucial mistakes. The first one was aiding and abetting a sex offender, but the second was not showing restraint. The key to emotionally winning over an audience is not overdoing the emotion part. You can tell he didn't do this very well because he looks like he's about to die in the line of fire. But I almost don't blame him. In a medium as free-flowing as anime, emotional restraint is a really easy thing to fuck up. Exaggerating expressions is laughably easy to pull off, and many anime do so for a comedic effect or to hammer in a point. With that being said, Oshi has its share of wild humor and visual exaggeration, yet it still portrays the emotions of its characters beautifully. There's something almost magical to me about seeing such crisp lines, such vivid colors, such bright artistic expression, but at the same time, nuance. Not in the way that bores you, but rather in a way that makes you feel connected to the character on screen. You can identify with them because this is often how people really are. When we're flustered, we sheepishly try to hide it. When we're constantly feeling inadequate or patronized, of course we'll be a little short-tempered. When we try our best just to be met with unbearable pain, this is how we may deal with it. We never immediately overreact. Instead, we try to keep it in, appear unbothered, hide anything that betray the fact that we're not really holding everything together. So when Ai finally tells her children she loves them, or when Ruby fails her audition, when Kana has a truly violent outburst, or Akane finally breaks down, the weight of these moments feels much more real and that much more powerful. You can feel the anguish these characters are going through, or at the very least understand why they feel that way. So Oshi may be a wonderful, unique story. It may be about one person's epic quest for vengeance, and it may be a damning critique of the entertainment industry and the experiences of the people in it. But it's moments like these little interruptions and a mess of lies and deception that make it stand out as an incredible work of art. For season 1 at least.